Hi, Harvinder. Greg Knox here. Sorry that it's taken me so long to get to this, but without further ado, I'll jump right into it. Deep in the throes of getting ready for the IMTS show, and I know you remember what that's like. Technology in manufacturing has changed exponentially over the last few decades. A lot of people, when they think of manufacturing, they think of sweatshops, guys in tank tops with hot chips getting down their shirts as they crank handles with greasy, maybe bloodied knuckles, and really nothing could be further from the truth. Manufacturing today versus just going back even 30 or 40 years ago. Technology has progressed to the point where manufacturing today is extremely high tech. I mean, just look at a car. 30 years ago, I could tune up my own vehicles. These days, I pop the hood, not even sure what I'm looking at. Computers everywhere, sensors. You look at cars, self-driving cars. You look at that technology. The tools used to manufacture things like cars, airplanes, the mining equipment. Pretty much everything we touch in our life is touched by a machine tool, and necessarily those technologies have evolved, as have the technologies in airplanes and jet engines, etc. So machine tools and manufacturing in 2018 and beyond is a very high-tech world. The majority of the shops that I call on, a lot of them look like clean rooms. Some of them are clean rooms. But your average shop, if you walk in and it's greasy with black walls, poor ventilation, oil mist in the air, maybe on the floor, they're not going to be in business for very long. So your shops today are a very high-tech environment. Anyone who has not gone out and looked at manufacturing shops, especially young folks considering maybe getting into the industry, owe it to themselves to go out and really see what manufacturing in 2018 looks like. I think they'd be very surprised just how high-tech and clean it is. One of the greatest challenges we have, all of us in manufacturing, is finding good talent and new talent to bring into this industry. I'm on several boards throughout the country, and I don't care how many companies I call on, board meetings I go to across the nation, even when I go overseas. Workforce development is the greatest challenge to manufacturing in the 21st century. No questions asked. There are over 600,000 tool makers, machinists who are going to be retiring over the course of the next 10 years. The average age is 55. The average individual is white. The palette of our country has changed so much, but manufacturing has been slow to reflect that. And we're working very hard to make sure that women and people of color and young people understand the abundant opportunities available in manufacturing. Again, over the course of the next 10 years, there'll be anywhere, depending on whose numbers you listen to, between 500,000 and 1,000,000 jobs open. And what do those jobs look like? What do you like? There'll be jobs available as machinists. If there's easy entry-level jobs for just taking a piece of metal and deburring a part to get your feet wet to start. Pay in the manufacturing sector traditionally pays, depending on the numbers you listen to, but it's conservative to say anywhere from 25 to 33% more than jobs in the service sector, jobs outside of manufacturing. That's because manufacturing is a prime mover. Until you pull something with no value out of the earth and then add value to it, nothing really happens. But then once you do that and you've created that value, now you get downstream jobs in the service community. Once people have used mining and manufacturing and agriculture to generate great value out of something that had no value before, now those monies go into economies and they can pay for Walmarts and Starbucks and restaurants and games, amusement parks, or whatever that is. So manufacturing being a prime mover, there's great opportunities and there's really great financial gain for people who choose the field of manufacturing to establish and grow their careers. In the spectrum of jobs available in manufacturing, we've got it all. There's entry-level jobs, as I mentioned, for deburring parts, for setting up machines, for cleaning shops. Then above there, you get maybe into a machine operator, where you're actually running $100,000 or $1 million equipment and being trained how to do that. Then maybe it's programming, where you learn how to program the computers that drive this automation. Maybe you want to be an application engineer. Maybe you want to be a mechanical engineer, going in and working on the design of new products. Maybe you like sales. Maybe you want to go through that, shop, learn these different, facets of manufacturing, and then get into sales. There are a multitude of sales jobs available across the nation, really well-paying jobs for people who get into the manufacturing field and spend a little bit of time in it, understanding that. When I look at those jobs, you can look at two separate career paths. You can come out of high school, go to college, stay there for 4 years, get maybe anywhere $50,000, $100,000 of student debt racked up. And then when you're done, now you start looking to start your career. Oftentimes that takes 6 months to a year. And oftentimes, I hate to say it, but many students in 2018 are going to jobs where they're underemployed, which means the jobs they take are really below the level of debt that they've taken on to get that college degree. So if we contrast that on the one hand versus someone who goes out of high school and goes into manufacturing on the other hand, that person maybe took some trade school in high school and starts at a more than an entry-level position. Maybe they go straight out of high school with no experience and go into an entry-level position. Typically in manufacturing, after 4 years, you will have experienced several raises and bumps in position to where the average person in manufacturing who's been in for 4 years probably is making conservatively anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 a year, and that probably is a conservative figure. Now we look at someone who, has been, say that they made $25,000, which is really at the low end of the spectrum. After 4 years, they've got $100,000 that they've earned. The other person might have $100,000 in debt. They're already well on their way. If they want their degrees, they can still get them. And many, many organizations in manufacturing will pay for that degree, as long as it's aligned with something that's going to benefit the company that they're working for. So they've got healthcare benefits, they've got vacation, maybe by year 5 they're on to their 3rd week of vacation. And again, the person with the $100,000 debt just getting out of college is just beginning. So when I look at those two, I really think more people owe it to themselves to investigate careers in manufacturing. I think the greatest challenge we have is perception versus reality. The perception that these jobs are low paying, that they're low tech, and the reality is that these are high paying jobs in environments which are extremely clean and extremely high tech. I hear the term blue collar worker. I don't really see a lot of blue collar workers anymore. Most of the people I deal with in manufacturing, frankly, they're wearing Dockers, they're wearing a nice golf shirt, and they wouldn't be wearing those clothes if they were going to get greasy every day when they went to work. As far as wages for skilled machinists, people in the manufacturing field, I see that those wages, especially, I've been doing this for 30 years now, they have really, really grown. And one of the reasons they've grown is we're dealing with smarter shops. As shops get more efficient, are able to leverage things like automation to do more with less, there's more money in the pot, and smart companies share that money with their employees. Companies that aren't smart go out of business. So what I'm seeing is the wages in manufacturing have really, really increased. And there are a multitude of what will end up being 6-figure jobs available in the manufacturing field to people who stay in the manufacturing field and become an expert at something. I'm a big fan. I know in college oftentimes they teach millennials, you're not going to have 5 jobs, you're going to have 5 careers. I don't subscribe to that theory. I think in today's, globally flattened, hyper internet competitive world, people only value people who are expert at something. I think being a jack of all trades, I think that day is over. So I think people who get into manufacturing and stick with it, now there are different paths you may take once you're there, but rather than career changes, I think staying the course in manufacturing would prove to any individual to be very, very fruitful and pay very high dividends in not all that long a period of time. The jobs in manufacturing that are available right now are plentiful. Across the country, you don't have to do a lot of searching to find manufacturing organizations that are dying to bring in good talent. And when I say good talent, here's what I mean. There's attitude and there's aptitude. That's what we look for in manufacturing. You don't have to come to me with the full experience set. You'll get that over time. we realize no matter who we bring in, we're going to have to train them to our specific niche in the manufacturing field anyway. So what we're looking for is people who are reliable, people who are flexible, people who are good team players, people with a good work ethic. And if you give us those things, we can take and help you to learn all of the nuances of manufacturing so you can leverage that into a very profitable career for yourself. The future of manufacturing is unlimited. As I see all of the technologies, from cell phones to computer technologies to cars to rocket engines to solar, to I could go on and on, the opportunities in manufacturing will be abounding for many years to come. People say, oh, well, we don't make anything in the United States anymore. That just couldn't be any further from true. Granted, China has taken over as the number one manufacturer globally over the last few years. I'm on the Economic Forecasting Committee with the Association of Manufacturing Technologies out of Washington, D.C., and all the data we have projects the U.S. getting back into that position before all too long, and probably staying there once they're back there. So I think that the jobs in manufacturing are going to be here for a long period of time. Many parents, when they look into a field for their children, you don't want to project out a year or three, for something that might be a bubble. You want to look at 10, 20, 30, 40 years and say, where do I feel confident that this career path will be there for me, solid, with great opportunities for a sustained period of time? Maybe over the course of a lifetime, of course, right? Manufacturing has that. Manufacturing is solid, it's growing, it's high tech, it's rewarding, it pays well, and it's a great way to make a living.